Silence is sometimes the loudest scream. Think about that for a second. When someone hurts you, when they take your kindness for granted, the world tells you to explain, to fix, to prove you're worth keeping. But my friends, that is the biggest lie we've all been fed. They tell you that if you just say the right words, if you just try harder, they'll finally see your value. Yet the truth is, the more you chase, the more invisible you become to the very person you're trying to hold on to. Hey folks, imagine this for a moment. You're in a room that's on fire. The walls are burning, the smoke is thick, and instead of walking out, you're standing there begging the flames to calm down. Sounds crazy, right? Yet, that's exactly what most people do after being hurt. They stay in the fire, trying to convince someone to care, trying to win back a person who already decided to walk away. But the man who knows his worth doesn't beg the fire to stop burning. He steps out of the building, wipes the ash off his shoulders, and never looks back. Here's the thing, my friends. When you've been hurt, your emotions scream at you to react. You want answers. You want closure. You want them to feel the pain they caused you. You believe that if you don't reach out, you'll lose them forever. But that's the trap. That's the lie. Because the moment you start chasing, the moment you try to prove your worth, you hand over all your power. You're telling them, you still control my emotions, my value, my peace. And once you do that, they stop respecting you. But here's where the power shift happens. When you do nothing, when you go silent, when you detach, when you choose yourself over their validation, suddenly the game changes. They expected you to react. They expected you to beg. They expected you to fall apart. But you didn't. And that's when the regret creeps in. Because silence makes people uncomfortable. It forces them to sit alone with their thoughts. It forces them to question themselves. My friends, your silence is not weakness, it's strength. It says, I don't need to prove my value to anyone who couldn't see it in the first place. It's not about playing games or making them jealous. It's about finally realizing that you deserve better than being an option. So today, I'm going to show you exactly what happens when you stop chasing, when you stop proving, and when you finally let your silence speak for you. Because once you see how powerful this truly is, you'll never waste your time begging for someone's attention again. Write this in the comments. My silence is my power. Say it, own it, believe it. And if you're ready to finally take your power back, press that like button, subscribe to the channel, and stay with me till the end. Because the truth I'm about to share will make them miss you in ways words never could. Stay strong, my friends. Stay silent. Stay powerful. Stay unshaken. You deserve more, always. Number 1, why chasing always backfires. The more you chase, the further they run. Let that sink in for a moment, because deep down, you've felt it. The harder you try to convince someone of your worth after they hurt you, the more distant they seem to become. It's like running after a shadow. You can never catch it, and the faster you move, the faster it slips away. My friends, this is the brutal truth most people don't want to hear. Chasing someone who's pulled away never brings them closer. It only confirms what they already believe, that they have the power and you're desperate to keep them. Imagine this. You're standing in the middle of a field holding a kite. The wind is strong and the kite is flying high. The more you pull on the string, the more it fights against you, trying to break free. But the second you loosen your grip, the wind takes it away. People are just like that kite. The more you hold on, the more they feel the urge to pull back. And when you completely let go, suddenly the reality of being lost hits them harder than any words ever could. The lie you've been told is that if you just explain yourself enough, if you just fight for them enough, they'll see your value, that if you chase, you'll win them back. But think about it. When has chasing ever really worked? When has begging ever made someone respect you more? The painful answer is never. Because the second you chase, you tell them, "I'm okay with being hurt as long as you stay." You hand them all the power, and they take it without hesitation. Why do they think this way? Because human nature is wired to take for granted what's always available. When you're always there, always proving yourself, they feel safe. They believe they have all the time in the world to make up their mind about you. They think, he'll always be there if I change my mind. And so, there's no urgency, no fear of loss, no reason to truly value you. But my friends, here's where everything flips. The moment you stop explaining, the moment you stop trying, the moment you finally pull back, that's when the ground beneath them starts to shake. Because people only truly value what they feel they're about to lose. When you go quiet, when you detach, when you stop pouring energy into someone who hurt you, suddenly they feel something they didn't expect: uncertainty. They wonder, wait, did I lose them for good? Did I push them too far? Why aren't they chasing me anymore? And that uncertainty is what eats them alive. Yes, it's difficult. Every part of you will want to reach out, to check in, to fix what they broke. That urge is your heart trying to soothe your ego. But you need to see the bigger picture, because when you chase, you're not healing. You're handing them more proof that they can hurt you and still have access to you. And once they know that, they'll never respect you the same way again. Walking away isn't weakness, it's strength. Silence is not surrender, it's power, because it takes more strength to stay quiet than it does to send that long paragraph explaining how much they hurt you. It takes more power to detach than to beg for their attention. When you finally let go, you're not punishing them, you're protecting yourself. And here's the best part. The moment you reclaim your power, everything shifts. They start overthinking. They replay everything you ever did for them. They compare you to every new person who can't measure up. They stalk your social media quietly, trying to see if you've moved on. They don't admit it, but in the silence, they're losing control. Because the truth is, they expected you to keep proving yourself. They expected you to chase. But now, they're the ones questioning, doubting, regretting. My friends, chasing is a trap that feeds their ego but starves your self-respect. When you refuse to chase, you stop being an option and start being a choice. And that's when the real power is in your hands. So write this in the comments: I will never chase again. Show yourself, show them, show the world around you that you understand your value, because the moment you stop begging for someone to stay, that's when they finally realize what they've lost. And stay with me, because what happens next is even more powerful. When silence starts to work on their mind, when they begin to question everything, when they feel that uncertainty creeping in, that's when regret truly begins. And that's where we're going next. Number 2, the unexpected power of silence. Silence is the strongest answer to someone who doesn't deserve your words. My friends, silence is not weakness, it's strategy. It's the one move they never expect, the one response that hits harder than any argument you could ever have. See, most people are wired to expect a reaction when they hurt you. They want to know that they still matter, that they still have power over your emotions. When you go quiet, you disrupt the entire game. You take away the thing they feed on, your attention. Picture this: you drop a stone into a calm lake and ripples spread out endlessly. That stone is your reaction. Every time you respond, whether it's a long text, a call, or even a subtle comment, you create ripples that tell them they still affect you. But when you stop throwing stones, the water stays still, and in that stillness, they're forced to see their reflection. They're forced to sit with their thoughts, their guilt, their regret. Silence is the mirror they can't escape. At first, they might act unbothered. They might post like nothing happened, laugh with friends, or act as though your absence means nothing. But deep down, that quiet eats at them. Because silence is uncomfortable. It creates questions they can't answer. Did I push them too far? Have they moved on? Do they not care anymore? The longer you remain silent, the louder those questions become in their mind. But why does silence work so well? It's because people crave validation more than they admit. As long as you react, even in anger, they know they still matter. But when you take that away, when they can't get a rise out of you, it feels like losing oxygen. Suddenly, they're the ones who feel powerless. Here's the lie you've been told. If you stay silent, you'll lose them forever. But think about it. If they truly cared, would you need to beg for their attention? Would you need to keep reminding them of your worth? No. People who value you don't need constant convincing. Silence isn't about pushing them away. It's about creating space for truth. Either they step up because they truly care, or they disappear because they never did. And either way, you win. The fear of going silent is real, I get it. You think, what if they forget me? What if they move on? But here's the truth. They only forget people who stay in the background, who make themselves too available, too predictable. The man who goes silent, who suddenly stops feeding their ego, becomes a mystery they can't stop thinking about. Silence also protects your dignity. Every time you react, every time you send another message explaining how hurt you are, you give away pieces of your self-respect. But when you stay quiet, you stand tall. You say, without words, I know my value. I don't need to beg for it to be seen. And that's what unsettles them the most, because power isn't in what you say, it's in what you refuse to say. At some point, they'll try to test you. They might send a casual message, "Hey, how have you been?" just to see if you'll jump at the chance to reply. They might post something on social media designed to get a reaction out of you. But here's where most people fail. They take the bait. They respond too quickly. They try to prove they've moved on, but still care deep down. And just like that, the power shifts right back. But when you understand the power of silence, you don't take the bait. You don't reward their laziness with instant attention. You wait, you watch, you stay grounded in your value. Because the truth is, people who genuinely regret hurting you will not just send a lazy hey, they'll make real effort. They'll prove, with actions, that they want to fix what they broke. Silence forces them to reveal their true intentions. If they truly care, they'll come forward sincerely. If they don't, they'll fade away. And that's your answer. Either way, you don't lose. Because silence makes one thing clear. You're not an option anymore. You're not waiting around for breadcrumbs of attention. And as you stay silent, something powerful starts to happen inside you. You begin to heal. You start realizing how much energy you've wasted trying to prove your worth to someone who didn't see it. You start focusing on yourself, your growth, your goals. You feel lighter, freer, stronger. Because silence isn't just about them, it's about you reclaiming your power. My friends, I want you to write this down in the comments right now. My silence is my weapon. Say it out loud. Show yourself. Show them. Show the world around you that you're done giving power to someone who hurt you. Stay with me, because what happens next is even deeper. when you combine silence with true detachment, when you stop just staying quiet and actually focus on yourself, that's when regret hits them harder than ever before. And that's exactly what we're about to talk about next. Number 3, how detachment triggers their regret. When you stop chasing what isn't yours, you make space for what truly is. Detachment is the move that flips the entire script, my friends. Silence is powerful, but detachment is what makes that silence unshakable. Because it's one thing to stop talking, it's another thing to stop caring. And that is where most people fail. They go silent, but deep down, they're still obsessing, still waiting, still checking their phone for a message that might never come. But when you detach, truly detach, you stop playing the game entirely, and that's when they feel it the most. Think of it like this. Imagine you've been holding a rope in a tug of war. You've been pulling and pulling, trying to bring them closer, trying to prove that you're strong enough to hold on. And every time you pull, they dig their heels in deeper. But the second you let go of the rope, they stumble, they lose balance. They realize the only thing that kept the game going was your effort. Detachment is that moment you let go of the rope, and suddenly they're the ones left holding on to nothing. Here's the harsh truth. As long as you're emotionally invested, as long as you're waiting for them to come back, they still have power over you. They can sense it. They can feel that no matter how long they stay away, you'll always be there when they return, and that certainty kills attraction. People rarely value what they think they can't lose, but the second you detach, when you stop reacting, stop waiting, stop caring about their validation, something shifts. They go from feeling secure to feeling uncertain. Why is uncertainty so powerful? Because humans are wired to crave what feels scarce. When you were always available, always proving your worth, they felt safe knowing you'd never leave. But when you detach, when you stop feeding their ego, they suddenly feel the cold reality that they might have lost you for good. That fear of loss is far stronger than the comfort of always being desired. Detachment is not about punishing them. It's about choosing you. It's about saying, I refuse to spend another second begging for the attention of someone who couldn't appreciate me when they had me. And that choice, quiet, strong, and firm, hits harder than any words ever could. Because while you're out there building yourself, leveling up, living fully, they're left wondering why you're not the same anymore. And this is where regret creeps in. At first, they won't admit it. They'll act fine. They'll distract themselves, maybe even see other people, but none of it feels the same. Because no matter how hard they try, they can't shake the thought, why did I let them go? Did I misjudge them? Are they happier without me? And as days turn into weeks, that quiet uncertainty starts to eat at them. Here's why this part is so hard for you, because detachment feels like losing. It feels like surrender. Your mind tells you that if you stop caring, they'll forget you. But my friends, the opposite is true. People don't forget the ones who value themselves enough to walk away. They forget the ones who beg to stay. Detachment makes you unforgettable, not because you played games, but because you showed strength in a way they didn't expect. And while you're focusing on yourself, while you're becoming the best version of you, they're stuck in their own head. They start to compare. They remember the way you supported them, the way you made them feel valued, the way you showed up when others didn't. And now, that version of you is no longer accessible to them. They can't reach out and get the same person back because that person has grown beyond needing them. People only regret when they see you thriving without them. If you sit around waiting, obsessing, stuck in the same place, there's no reason for them to feel your absence. But when they see you smiling, winning, becoming stronger, suddenly they feel the sting of losing someone valuable. Because the world respects those who respect themselves. Detachment also removes their safety net. As long as they believe you'll always be there, they can live without urgency. But when you truly detach, when you're no longer emotionally available, they lose that comfort. And losing that comfort is what makes them miss you the most. Say this with me and write it in the comments. I choose myself every time, because that is the core of detachment. Not playing games, not punishing anyone, but choosing you. Choosing your peace over chaos, your dignity over desperation, your future over someone who couldn't see your worth. And here's where things get interesting. When you detach, they will try to test you. They'll send messages like your posts, try to make you jealous, all just to see if you still care. But that's when your strength will be tested. Will you fall back into old habits, or will you stand firm in your power? Stay with me, because in the next part, we're going to talk about exactly what happens when they start testing you and how to respond without losing everything you've built. Number 4, when they start testing you. People test you not to see your strength, but to see if you'll still give them access to your weakness. This is the part nobody warns you about. Once you go silent, once you detach, they will not just sit back quietly. No, my friends, they will test you, because deep down, they need to know if you still care, if they still have influence over you, if they can still pull you back into the same cycle they created. Imagine a locked door. For the longest time, it was wide open. They could walk in and out of your life whenever they pleased. But now you've closed it. Now you've locked it. And like anyone who loses access, they start knocking, then tapping, then pushing on the handle, just to see if the door will open again. These tests are those knocks. They come in many forms, but the goal is always the same, to see if you'll let them back in without effort. They might send you a casual message, something as lazy as "Hey" or "What's up?" Not because they miss you deeply, but because they want to see if you'll respond instantly. They might start liking your posts or watching every story you upload, just to remind you they're still around. Sometimes they'll even post pictures with someone else, hoping to make you jealous and force a reaction out of you. And here's where most people fail. The moment these small breadcrumbs appear, they take the bait. They reply too fast. They show that one little signal is enough to undo all their progress. But when you truly understand your value, you see these tests for exactly what they are, attempts to regain control. Because someone who genuinely regrets hurting you won't just send a lazy "Hey." They won't just post pictures to get your attention. They'll put in real effort. They'll take accountability. They'll show you, not tell you, that they want to rebuild what they broke. Here's the trap. Your emotions will tempt you to respond. You'll see that message and think, maybe this is it. Maybe they finally realized what I mean to them. But ask yourself, are they showing effort, or are they just checking if they still have power over you? Because people who truly value you will not test you. They will prove themselves. This is where you need to rise above the urge to react, because every time you instantly reply, every time you validate their test, you teach them that they can hurt you, leave, and still have your attention without earning it. And the moment they see you still waiting, still available, the cycle resets. They lose respect, the challenge disappears, and you're back to square one. But when you hold your ground, when you don't respond to breadcrumbs, when you refuse to play games, everything changes. They realize you're no longer predictable. They realize they can't just walk back in whenever they feel like it. And that unpredictability is what makes them panic. Understand this. Testing is not a sign of love. It's a sign of ego. They're not reaching out to rebuild trust. They're reaching out to see if they still have you in their back pocket. And if you fail this test, if you rush back too quickly, they'll take you for granted all over again. It won't be easy. You'll feel the urge to reply. You'll convince yourself that if you ignore them, they'll think you don't care. But my friends, caring isn't the issue. Respect is. Someone who truly wants you back will not be satisfied with a single lazy message. They will put in consistent effort. They will fight to earn back your presence. You have to remember why you detached in the first place. It wasn't to make them miss you, it was to finally reclaim your power. And the moment you pass this test, the moment you refuse to settle for crumbs, that's when the shift happens. That's when they realize they've lost the version of you who would settle for anything less than real effort. So write this down in the comments right now. I will not take the bait. Say it out loud. Show yourself. Show them. Show the world around you that you refuse to be tested like someone who can be won back cheaply. Because when you hold your ground, they'll have to make a choice. Either step up with real effort or step out of your life completely. And that's where your true power lies. Stay with me, because next we're going to talk about exactly what happens inside their mind when you keep holding firm, when you pass their tests and force them to face the reality that they no longer have control over you. That's when the real regret begins, and that's where the tables truly turn. Number 5, reclaiming your power and value. The day you stop begging for a seat at someone's table is the day you realize you've always had the power to build your own. This entire process, my friends, is not just about making them miss you. It's about finally remembering who you are. Because somewhere along the way, when they hurt you, when you kept proving yourself, when you kept chasing, you started forgetting your own worth. You started believing that their validation defined your value. But here's the truth. Your value was never in their hands. It has always been yours. Think about it. You were once confident, focused, and full of purpose. But the moment you let someone else's opinion dictate your self-worth, you became a shadow of yourself. You gave away your power every time you begged for their attention. You handed over pieces of yourself every time you reacted to their games. And for what? For a temporary moment of reassurance from someone who didn't see your value in the first place. Reclaiming your power means turning that energy back inward. It means investing in yourself the way you once invested in someone who didn't appreciate it. Imagine all that effort, all the late-night texts, the constant worrying, the endless thinking being put into your growth, your goals, your happiness. That's how men rise, not by chasing what's walking away, but by building a life so solid, so fulfilled, that losing someone is just a minor setback, not a collapse. Here's what happens when you focus on yourself. You start feeling lighter, your mind becomes clearer. You begin to see that your happiness doesn't depend on their presence. It depends on your choices. And when you show the world, through your actions, that you value yourself, everything around you shifts. People treat you based on the standard you set. When you raise your standard, you stop accepting breadcrumbs. You stop settling for being an option. You become the prize, not the pursuer. The beauty of reclaiming your power is that it creates a ripple effect. The more you grow, the more confident you become, the more attractive you are, not just to them, but to everyone around you. Because confidence is magnetic, self-respect is undeniable. And the moment they see that you're thriving without them, that's when regret hits the hardest. Because now they realize you were never the problem. You were the blessing they couldn't appreciate. But here's the key. You don't reclaim your power to get them back. You do it because you refuse to lose yourself for anyone ever again. Because a man who knows his worth doesn't beg to be chosen. He chooses himself. And the more you do this, the less their opinion even matters. Whether they come back or not becomes irrelevant, because your life is already moving forward without them. It won't be easy at first. Healing isn't a straight line. Some days you'll feel strong, other days the urge to reach out will creep back in. But every time you resist, every time you stay silent and choose yourself instead, you grow stronger. You teach yourself that you are more than someone else's decision. Say this with me right now and write it in the comments. I choose myself every time. This is your reminder that your worth is not negotiable, that you don't need to beg for love or attention, that anyone who can't see your value doesn't deserve your presence. And when you finally reclaim your power, something incredible happens. They notice. They see you changing. They see you leveling up. And for the first time, they realize they might have lost you for good. Stay with me, because in the next part, we'll dive into exactly what happens inside their mind when they finally see you thriving without them, when regret truly begins to take hold, and they're forced to face what they let slip away. Number 6. What happens when they realize you're gone? Regret always arrives late. It knocks only when the door is already closed. This is the moment where everything begins to shift inside their mind. At first, when you went silent, when you pulled back, they didn't take it seriously. They told themselves, they'll come back. They've always been there. I still have time. But as days turn to weeks and weeks turn to months, a heavy realization starts to sink in. This time, you're really gone. And that's when regret begins to hit them like a wave they can't outrun. At first, they try to brush it off. They distract themselves. New people, new places, new habits, anything to fill the void. But it never works, because no distraction feels the same as the stability, the care, the presence you once gave them. They scroll through old messages, not to reply, but to feel something familiar. They replay memories, not because they want to, but because they can't stop. And the silence they once thought was power. Now it feels like punishment. What's happening in their mind is simple. Certainty is gone. The comfort of knowing you'll always be there is gone. And that fear, that uncertainty, is what creates regret. Humans are wired to value what feels scarce. And right now, you are scarce, you are distant, you are unavailable. For the first time, they can't predict you, they can't control you, and they can't access you whenever they please. They start asking themselves questions they never thought they'd ask. Did I make the wrong choice? Did I take them for granted? What if they've moved on? What if someone else is appreciating them in ways I never did? These thoughts grow louder with each passing day, especially when they see you thriving. When they notice you're happier, more focused, more confident without them, the regret multiplies. And here's the powerful part. When you're really gone, you're not just absent, you've evolved. You've become someone new. The version of you they hurt, the version they took for granted, no longer exists. And that's what eats at them the most. They can't just come back to the same comfort, the same unconditional attention. They realize they've lost access to something valuable, and they may never get it back. It hurts them more than they'll ever admit, because people rarely regret losing you right away. Regret comes slowly, creeping in like a shadow that grows longer as the sun sets, and by the time it fully hits, it's often too late. They start comparing every new connection to you, and no one measures up. They notice how others don't bring the same security, the same care, the same energy you once gave freely. And that comparison is a silent punishment they created for themselves. This stage is where your strength pays off, because while they're stuck in the past, you're building a new future. You're no longer looking back, no longer checking if they're watching. You're focused on what's ahead. And that's exactly what makes them feel powerless. For the first time, they can't just send a message and get you back. They can't just post something and expect a reaction. They've lost their grip, and they know it. But remember, this isn't about revenge. It's not about making them suffer. It's about proving to yourself that you never needed them to validate your worth. And as much as it may sting for them to realize what they lost, the real victory is that you've grown beyond needing their approval at all. Say this with me right now and write it in the comments. I've outgrown the past, because that's the truth. When you detach, when you choose yourself, when you thrive without them, you become untouchable. And stay with me, my friends, because in the next part, we'll talk about what happens when they finally realize you're not coming back easily, when they try to return, but you have the power to decide if they even deserve a second chance. Number 7. Setting new standards if they come back. If you lower your standards for someone who broke you, you teach them that hurting you has no consequences. This is the moment many people secretly wait for, the day they finally come back. Maybe it's a message out of the blue. Maybe it's a long emotional text about how they've been thinking of you. Maybe it's an apology you thought you'd never hear. And as much as it feels validating, as much as it feels like a victory, this is where you must be the strongest. Because if you let them return too easily, if you welcome them back without hesitation, you lose everything you worked so hard to gain. Think about it. You've spent all this time reclaiming your power, building yourself, proving that you can thrive without them. You've shown strength, self-control, and growth. But the second you let them back without effort, you undo it all. You teach them that no matter how they treated you before, they can always have access to you again. And when that happens, the respect you earned for yourself begins to fade. Not just in their eyes, but in yours. It's like rebuilding a house after a storm. You don't just let anyone walk in without checking if they'll destroy it again. You protect it, you guard it, because you know the value of what you've built. The same goes for your life, your heart, your peace. If they want to come back, they need to prove they deserve a place in it again. This is where new standards matter more than ever. Before, you might have let things slide. You might have accepted breadcrumbs. You might have tolerated behavior that disrespected your worth. But now you know better. You've grown. And with growth comes higher expectations. Because love without respect is never love at all. It's just comfort disguised as connection. Here's the trap most people fall into. They see the apology, they see the effort, and they think, this is it. This is all I wanted. And in their excitement, they drop every boundary they created. They go back to the same dynamic as before. And just like that, the cycle resets. The other person feels secure again, the challenge disappears, and slowly the same patterns return. But a person who truly values themselves does it differently. They don't reward bad behavior with instant forgiveness. They don't let someone walk back into their life just because they finally decided to put in effort. They set new rules, new standards, new boundaries, and they make the other person earn back their place. Because anyone can say sorry, anyone can send a message saying they regret what happened, but only actions prove sincerity. If they truly want to be back in your life, they won't just talk. They'll show up consistently. They'll rebuild trust. They'll respect the boundaries you now have. This is the part that will test you the most, because you'll want to believe their words. You'll want to think that everything will be different this time. But my friends, people don't change because of words. They change because they finally face the cost of their actions. And if you let them back without consequence, they'll never truly learn. So before you let them back in, ask yourself, are they putting in real effort or just trying to soothe their own guilt? Are they proving through actions that they've grown, or are they just afraid of losing the comfort you once gave? And most importantly, are they truly ready to meet the new standards you've set, Or do they just want the old version of you who accepted less than they deserved? Say this with me and write it in the comments. My value is not negotiable, because that's the mindset that keeps you strong. You've come too far to go back to the person who begged for love, who settled for crumbs, who thought they had to prove their worth. When they return, the choice is yours, not theirs. And that power, the ability to decide whether they deserve another chance, is the clearest sign that you've finally taken back control. Stay with me, because in the next part, we're going to talk about the ultimate victory. Not when they miss you, not when they regret losing you, but when you finally realize that you never needed their validation to feel complete in the first place. Number 8. The real victory. You got yourself back. Winning them back means nothing if you've lost yourself in the process. My friends, this is where everything comes full circle, because this journey was never truly about making them miss you. It was never about proving your worth to someone who couldn't see it. The real victory, the one that matters most, is that you got yourself back. You stopped living for their approval, their attention, their validation, and in that moment, you became untouchable. Think about where you started. You were hurt, confused, desperate for answers. You felt like your world revolved around someone who didn't treat you the way you deserved. Every message they ignored felt like a knife. Every day they didn't reach out made you feel smaller. But look at you now. You've learned to stand on your own 2 feet. You've learned that peace is more powerful than begging. You've realized that your value doesn't depend on who stays or who leaves. The real freedom comes when you no longer care whether they come back or not, because now your happiness isn't tied to their presence. You're no longer waiting for a message, no longer checking if they're watching. Instead, you're building your life, setting goals, becoming stronger, and living for yourself, not for someone else's validation. It's like climbing a mountain. At first, you think the goal is to reach the peak, just to impress someone watching from below. But when you finally reach the top, you realize the view was never for them. It was always for you. Because the journey, the struggle, the growth, it all changed you. And by the time you get there, you don't care who's watching anymore. You're simply proud that you made it. This is the moment you truly win. Not when they regret, not when they miss you, not when they try to come back. You win the second you realize that your peace is priceless, your standards are unshakable, and your value was never up for debate. That realization is worth more than any apology you could ever get. Here's the truth most people never understand. When you truly get yourself back, that's when life opens up in ways you never expected. New opportunities, new connections, new love, all start coming to you. Because nothing is more attractive than someone who knows their worth and doesn't compromise it for anyone. You see, making them miss you badly was never the goal. It was simply a byproduct of you becoming stronger, more focused, and more fulfilled. Because people always feel the absence of what was once abundant. And now that you've stopped chasing, stopped proving, stopped settling, you've become the rarest thing of all, someone who doesn't need anyone to feel whole. Say this with me right now and write it in the comments. I choose my peace, because peace is the real power. It's the thing they can't take, can't control, can't manipulate. And once you have it, you never let it go again. So remember this, you didn't lose them. They lost you. They lost someone who cared deeply, who gave freely, who stood by them. And the best part? You didn't just move on, you leveled up. Stay strong, my friends, because the greatest revenge is never proving them wrong. It's proving yourself right. You're more than enough, and you always have been. The chapter with them is over, but your story? It's only just beginning. Number 9, the final lesson, you were always the prize. When you know your value, losing people stops feeling like a loss and starts feeling like alignment. My friends, this entire journey has never been about revenge. It's not about punishing them or making them beg. It's about waking up to a truth that too many people forget. You were always the prize. You were never meant to convince anyone to see your worth. The right people see it without you having to prove a single thing. When someone hurts you, the first instinct is always to ask, "What's wrong with me? Why wasn't I enough?" That's the lie pain makes you believe, that their choice somehow defined your value. But look at everything you've realized now. Their actions never said anything about you. They only revealed who they really are. You've learned that silence is power, that detachment is freedom, that focusing on yourself is how you win every single time. Because while they were expecting you to fall apart, you built yourself up instead. You refused to stay where you weren't respected, and in doing so, you became the version of yourself that no longer needs their approval to feel whole. The truth is, they will regret losing you. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but eventually they will, because people always regret losing someone solid, someone rare, someone who truly cared. But by the time they realize it, you'll already be too far ahead. You'll have built a life so fulfilling, so meaningful, that their absence no longer hurts. It only reminds you why you had to let go in the first place. Think of it like this. Life is a table. Some people are meant to sit at it, others aren't. You don't beg for someone to stay in a seat they don't deserve. You simply clear the chair and make room for someone who knows its value. And when you do that, life has a way of sending you the right people, the ones who will never make you question your worth. The greatest power you've gained through all this isn't that they miss you. It's that you don't miss the version of yourself who used to settle. You've outgrown that person. You've outgrown those old habits, that old desperation, that constant need for validation. And now, you're untouchable. This is the real win. Not that they come back, not that they apologize, but that you finally understand you never had to prove yourself to anyone in the first place. You are the prize. You always have been, and you always will be. Say it with me right now, and write it proudly in the comments. I am the prize. Let the world see it. Let yourself believe it. Because once you truly feel that, everything changes. You'll never chase again. You'll never beg again. You'll never lower your standards again. And if this message hit you today, if it reminded you of the power you've always had, then this is your sign. It's time to rise. It's time to move forward, not backward. The best chapters of your life haven't even been written yet. So, my friends, stay strong, stay silent when you need to, detach when it's required, and always, always remember your worth. Because the moment you do, you win, no matter who stays and no matter who goes. Now, go down to the comments and write it. I am the prize. I choose my peace. I never chase. Let the world see your strength. And if you're ready for more truth bombs like this, check out the next video on your screen right now, because it's exactly what you need to hear next. Your story isn't over. It's just beginning.